Hello everyone, I'm Roshaunda Green and welcome to the SourceAbled Career Chat Series. I am your host and I'm an account manager for diversity and inclusion at Rangam, where I work on the SourceAbled team. And the topic of today's chat will be job search advice. So I know there's a lot of job seekers out there, so hopefully if you take this advice, you'll go from a job seeker to an employee. So let's get right into it. So let me tell you a little bit about SourceAbled. So at SourceAbled, we focus on attracting qualified candidates with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities and connecting them with our clients who have autism at work programs or provide accommodations for them to succeed in the workplace. So if you know anyone that fits in this category, please encourage them to visit sourceable.com, set up your candidate profile, and if you're a service provider, please register for a corporate account and start sending us some great candidates today. And if you know anyone who would benefit from this information, please share it with them. So I want to tell you a little bit about our resume sweepstakes contest that we have going on right now. So we launched it in April the 1st and it's going until June the 1st. And in order to win some great prizes, all you have to do is create your SourceAbled candidate profile, upload your resume to sourceable.com. If you don't have a resume, we have a resume form field where we'll ask you information about your experience, your background, or your volunteer experience. You fill that out. And we also have an I need help button. So if at any point you're setting up your candidate profile and you need assistance, just click the I need help button. Someone from my team will reach out to you and help you to set up your profile and create your resume. And once you have your resume uploaded, then we want you to follow SourceAbled on our social media platforms, which is LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we'll choose winners to receive some great prizes. So what I wanted to do is share some of the prizes with you. So here we have a Driving Inclusion and Accelerating Engagement book. We also have some nice mugs, and we'll get more prizes as we continue on with this contest. So we already have one winner, and I'll put together a highlight of our winner and share that in a future session, but it definitely works. The candidate set up his SourceAbled profile, reached out to me with some job interest. I did an informational interview with him, and right now we are actually sending him to several of our clients. He's highly qualified and we really look forward to working with him. So hopefully we'll have a success story for that sweepstakes winner soon, and you could be our next winner. So please set up your profile. So let's get right into the job search advice. So a lot of times when you're applying for jobs, you're applying for a lot of jobs, and sometimes you may not be getting feedback from the recruiters. You don't know if it's a problem with your resume. You don't know if you don't have the experience that they're looking for. You're not sure why you're not getting interviews. Or if you're getting interviews, you're not sure why you're not getting hired. So let me give you some advice that will not only help you get your resume viewed by recruiters, but you can also use this advice when you're preparing for your interview. Okay, so first of all, a lot of times we're working harder and not smarter when we're looking for jobs. We're just applying, and we're searching all day, and it's very draining and it can be very overwhelming. So what I mean by working smarter, not harder, for every company that you want to work for, you should visit their website. And go to the file and a search agent. However, do you want to work from your address? You'll put your home address in, and sometimes people will say a 20-mile radius, but I really think that's based off of the candidate's desire to travel. Because I know that for every job I've ever had, because I live in a very secluded area, I usually have to travel between, 40 minutes to an hour. So for me, I wouldn't put a 20-mile radius because I live in a secluded area and there are not a lot of corporate jobs out here that align with my skill set. So for me, I'll put, just 40 to 50-mile radius just to see what jobs are in that area, right? Because that's the downtown area, and most of my jobs that I worked at have been in that vicinity. Another thing they'll ask you is for what level of jobs do you want this job search to send you? Entry, mid-level, or executive. They'll also ask you what are some job titles that you want the search agent to flag and send to you, right? So what you look at in your resume is some of the jobs that you had in the past, and make sure that the job titles that you're putting in the search agent are broad and general. I always say if you work for a company for a while, that the titles that they had in that company may not be the industry-wide titles that are being used. So make sure that you're transferring your job title in your search agent to something that is broad in the area that you want to work in, right? So for me, I've been in diversity and inclusion for a while, and most of the diversity and inclusion jobs are under the human resources division. So if I'm creating a job search agent for myself, I'll put in diversity and inclusion, human resources. I'll put in recruiting. I'll put in, I was an adjunct professor and I worked in organizational development, so I may put in learning. I also worked in project management. So you have to think of all of the jobs that you've had in the past and use those broad titles so that you can get more jobs that align with what's in the industry right now. And they'll also ask you a question: what is the frequency that you want the search agent to send your job information to you? If you're looking for a job, that question should always be daily, because what happens is they're adding new jobs every day, and they're, closing out the old jobs where they've hired someone. So you always want your job search to be working on your behalf so you can get immediate information. If you're on an entry-level platform, then those jobs, they'll have more jobs that get filled quickly, because it's just, really saturated. And for those data entry or customer service or administrative assistant jobs, they go through that interview and hiring process very quickly. Now, if you're at mid-manager level, those jobs may stay out on that career site a little longer because they're requiring a higher level of education, skill set, and experience. So that interview process may take longer. They may have more levels of interviews they have to go through. They may have to do some case studies or create a presentation. So those jobs usually take longer. Now, if you're at the executive level, for those jobs, they stay out there the longest, because that interview process is very long, very detailed, and they have a lot of different levels that they have to go through. But you should always select daily updates for your job search agents. And that's when you're really being effective and efficient. And when you wake up in the morning, first thing you should do after you get settled in is to check your inbox, because the job search agents are going to send you notifications to your inbox. And some job search agents will even ask, do you want us to send you text notifications when new job alerts are posted that are aligned with your preferences in your search agent? So, so that's completely up to you, right? But you should always have your cell phone set up so that you can check your emails constantly, right? Because when you're looking for jobs, your response time means, either you getting the job or you're not getting the job. Because once they have enough responses to have a solid candidate slate to present to that hiring manager, then they're not going to need any more candidates. They can, take that job off of the career site because now they're going through the interview process. So you always want to move very quickly to make sure that you have the opportunity to interview. Another thing that I want you to think about is, so if you have a service provider and you meet with your service provider to provide you guidance on, what jobs are out there now, to give you information about setting up your next interview, you need to make sure that your service provider is working with you to set up your search agents, or make sure that they're helping you to find the right jobs that align with you, and to make sure that the companies that you're applying for, that they actually have autism at work programs or provide accommodations for candidates with autism, neurodivergence, or disabilities. So this could be your service provider, this could be your job coach, this could be your caregiver. Just make sure that you're working with someone so that you're applying for the jobs that are aligned with your unique abilities and needs, okay? And when I'm talking about accommodations, so when I'm working with a lot of SourceAbled candidates that have autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities, sometimes they'll say, I would like to work part-time, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's usually one of the most frequently accommodations that I'll hear. So when I'm working with the clients, I'm making sure that whatever job that we're submitting them for will allow flexible schedules, or they actually have jobs that are part-time. So this is very important, making sure that the jobs that you're applying for, that the clients will approve your accommodations and ensure that you have everything that you need to be successful in the workplace. And in some instances, some of the candidates that I'm working with, they said that for them, working remote helps them to focus better. And that's great to know up front. So I do have some clients that have remote jobs. So this is good, making sure that not only you're applying for jobs that align with your skill set and experience, but making sure that you are applying for jobs with clients that will meet your accommodations. And that's the great thing about SourceAbled, because all of our clients that we work with have autism at work programs. They provide accommodations, and they're very flexible with schedules. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So when you're out looking for jobs, just make sure that your target is, for the right clients to fit your needs. Because that could be really frustrating if you're applying for a lot of jobs, you're not hearing anything, and in your job search agent, you put in accommodations that don't align with the jobs that they have at that company, right? So at SourceAbled, we work really hard to make sure that we're finding the right client for the right candidate, and with that, we're making sure that if you're on SourceAbled and you're doing a job search, that is a good use of your time, and we have the resources that will set you up for success, meaning that we've already met with the clients and they are on board with autism at work programs and very familiar with providing accommodations. So this is a win-win. Another thing that you need to do to really get in the right space with the right people to make sure that you're creating opportunities for yourself. There are so many groups out there. So join some networking groups with people that have autism, neurodivergence, or disabilities to learn and share job search tips. And even if you're a job coach or a service provider or a caregiver, there are groups for you, and there are a lot of people sharing some best practices and information that you can benefit from. And you can also learn and grow in this group. In these groups, you can talk about, how are you overcoming challenges in the workplace, or how do you prepare for an interview, or do you know anyone that's hiring? I know that I see these groups on meetups, a lot of groups on Clubhouse, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram and TikTok. So use your social media to help to get you connected with the right people that have a lot of resources, advice, and support that you need. Because in the job search, it is very stressful, and mental wellness is important. So when you find a group of people that you guys share some common interests, then this will help you to, share some challenges that you're having, or, help with some great advice, or just really become a great place where you can, just relax and, feel comfortable. So I've seen a lot of those groups, and I joined a lot of those groups because I have jobs that, for candidates with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities. So when I join the groups, I'm always sharing job postings. I'm always sharing, this chat session that I'm doing to, help those candidates, get employed. But that's just that's a game changer. That's a real big game changer when you're out there and you're a job seeker and you just feel isolated, alone, and overwhelmed. Always get in a group of like-minded people that are, going in the same direction that you are, with some of the same goals, the same aspirations, and you'll actually get a lot of support there. And create a routine, right? So when you create a job search routine, you're working with your service provider, job coach, or caregiver. And this is where you'll make a decision. So when you're working 8 hours a day, right? So when you're in the job search, market, then what you want to do is say, okay, so I'm going to wake up every day at this time, set a time, get yourself, together, and you'll say, I'll get on my computer or on my phone, and I'll start looking for jobs for at least 4 hours a day. Or if you are not working, maybe it's 8 hours a day, but make sure that this is something that works for you. And you should really feel comfortable in, putting a lot of time and energy into that job search. And it should bring you comfort that I'm doing everything in my power to get an interview, to learn about companies, and to find gainful employment. Right? So if you're not working on a job, then you should be working on finding a job. And that's some really productive energy and a great use of your time. And you're doing everything you can to get you closer and closer to finding that perfect job. Okay. And then research, right? Research is just very important because you don't want anything to be just random and applying for any and everything. You want to conduct research and understand the organizations that have autism at work programs and accessibility options that are provided before you submit for a job, right? And that's just putting you aligned with the right companies that do this. And just put in autism at work. Or you can even put in, autism jobs or neurodivergence jobs, or, jobs for, candidates with disabilities. So what you're trying to do is find the keywords that will align you with the companies that are hiring. And that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is work with your service provider. Your service provider knows all of the companies or a lot of the companies in the vicinity that you live in that, have these programs. We have tons of service providers that are registered with us. And every time we post a job, we have these service providers on our email distribution list, so they get an email notifying them. So if you're a service provider out there and you have these great candidates and you're having a hard time finding them a job, then connect with SourceAbled. We have the jobs, and we have a proven system that makes it a lot easier for you to get alerts and get notified about jobs that we have available. And we always do informational interviews because we're getting new jobs daily. So we want to build a strong pipeline of candidates with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities so that we can line them with these great opportunities when they become available in the areas where the candidates are living. And we do have some remote roles, which is a great thing, right? So the remote roles allow you to work from home. And for those candidates that feel comfortable working from home, then this is just a perfect job for you. So if you don't see anything when you go to sourceable.com that aligns with your skill set or is in your location, still reach out to us. You can email Roshaunda@Rangam.com. I'm always doing informational interviews with candidates, and during a lot of those calls, I find out some great information, right? So they say, I didn't see, anything on sourceable.com that, was in my area or fit my skill set. So when I start, going through their resume and start asking probing questions, and sometimes I'll be on the phone with the candidate and their service provider, or the candidate and their job coach, or the candidate and their caregiver. And I'm really able to find out some things that are not on their resume that aligns with some jobs that we're hiring for, right? So that's why sometimes it's good to if a company can give you an informational interview, then that's just a great way for that recruiter or an account manager to probe a little deeper and really be able to pull some great information out that candidate that can make them available for a job that they didn't even realize align with their skill set. It's all about, asking the right questions and getting the right information. So always reach out and see if you can get an informational interview. And at SourceAbled, you definitely can. Another thing to do is to keep a list of all the jobs you apply for, right? Because a lot of times when you apply for a job, you may not get an immediate response. Sometimes it may be a week or two. Sometimes it may be a month, and you've applied for so many jobs that, when that recruiter calls, you can't even remember applying for the job. So keep a list of all the jobs you apply for. And the list can be something really easy. Open up a Microsoft Word or an Excel document, or if you just want to put it on your notepad, or open up your phone and, send a message to yourself about, jobs you apply for. So you would say something like, Monday, May the 4th, applied at sourceable.com for a data entry specialist job. And then you can just something really short to the point. So when a recruiter calls back and say, hello, I'm Roshaunda Green, I'm a SourceAbled, I'm calling you about that data entry job you applied for. Then you can look at the date that you applied for it. And then you can also look at your inbox for the date that you applied for it, and you'll see a confirmation. After you apply for a job, you'll usually get a confirmation. And then you can click on that confirmation and look at that job description. Right? So when that recruiter is talking to you, that you can easily find that job description and then, be available. And usually sometimes when they reach out and call, they'll either ask, is this a good time to call, or do I need to, schedule an interview with you for a later date? So this may be a phone call or an email, but if you can, talk then go for it. If you need some time to find the job description and get yourself together, or to find a time when your job coach or service provider or caregiver is available with you so they can assist you to prepare for this interview and be there to accompany you during the interview. So just let them know. you know what, I want to schedule another time for us to interview, and then they'll give you some options, and then you just work with your job coach and service provider or caregiver, make sure they're available at this time. So everything that you do is setting you up to succeed. Okay. And then celebrate all the job search accomplishments daily, right? I'm always thinking about mental wellness and making sure that you're not stressing yourself out or getting overwhelmed. So if you're out there searching for a job and you find a job that's great for you, celebrate that you applied. Or if you, I gave you that advice about setting up your search agents. If you, listen to this chat and you say, you know what, let me go out here and, start setting up my search agent with SourceAbled.com. And you'll go to our site and you'll see some jobs, and that'll be a great thing. So when you're setting up your search agent, that's getting you closer to finding a job. When you're applying for a job, that's great. And I think what is great when you're proactive, right? Proactive means that you're preparing for what's to come, even though it's not here yet. So when you go out there on SourceAbled.com, and you see some great jobs, then reach out to your service provider, caregiver, or a job coach and let them know, I saw a great job. I just applied for it. They may call me. So I want you to start coaching me and preparing me for my interview, right? Because you can just never prepare enough for when a great opportunity is, is available for you. You just want to have a lot of preparation time so that you can be the best that you can be, have the best interview, and really, make a good impression, right? Right? So I know that I share jobs that we have all the time. And I said to myself, now, if I'm a job seeker and she's sharing these great jobs with me, like, what's the details for these jobs, right? I'm trying to encourage you to go to SourceAbled.com so that you can see these great jobs. But what I'll do is I went in and pulled a few of our jobs, and I have the description, right? So you'll see what we're looking for and what that job is all about. So some of the pharmaceutical jobs that we have in Jacksonville, Florida, I pulled one of the jobs, and it's an inspection operator. And you have to be responsible for receiving, inspecting, and repackaging product, right? So that is a great job that we have out there. And you can go out and apply for it today. These are active roles. We have a lot of warehouse jobs in Middletown and Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. So we have an assembler job. You must have experience with assembling, boxing, and lifting. We also have some forklift operator jobs in Middletown and Mechanicsburg, and you need to have experience at least 6 months on a forklift or a forklift certification, and that interview process goes really quickly. So once you apply for that, they'll be ready to take you on an interview and a tour and, start your onboarding. We also have a procurement project manager job in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and they want you to develop a project plan, track deliverables and budget, support data, analytics, and process flow mapping. Okay. We also have a data entry job in Binghamton, New York, Phoenix, Arizona, and Elgin, Illinois. And for this description, you have to be responsible for data keying and expected to maintain high levels of productivity and accuracy daily. Okay. And then we also have an incident manager in Rahway, New Jersey. And for this job, they want you to ensure that the ITIL V3 procedures are used to handle all incidents to minimize the impact of client service quality. Okay. And then we have a lot of document processor roles. They're located in Toronto, Ontario, Belleville, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, Binghamton, New York, Louisville, Kentucky, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, for this role, they want you to review the documents, prepare the documents, process the documents, remittance and transaction processing, and data entry. So this is, like I said, we have a lot of these roles, and if it's in your location you're a fit for it, go and apply. We also have an equipment operator role in Chicago, Illinois, where you'll operate an industrial scanning machine. So these are just a few of the roles that we have on SourceAbled.com. So go set up your candidate profile and start applying today. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or need additional information or want an informational interview. You can email me at Roshaunda@Rangam.com. So if you're a candidate with autism, neurodivergence, or disabilities, or if you're a service provider or a caregiver, please feel free to reach out to me. We onboard, new service providers all the time. So if you're a new service provider, you set up your corporate account, we'll reach out to you and have a conversation. And we'll usually try to have a recruiter or an account manager that has jobs in your area. So while we're telling you about Rangam, SourceAbled.com and Rangam, that we can also provide you with some jobs that we have in that area for your clients. So it's just a win-win for everyone. So please feel free to follow Rangam and SourceAbled on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also follow me on social media, right? Because I'm always doing chats, sharing career advice, and a lot of information that will benefit anyone with autism, neurodivergence, or disabilities. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Clubhouse. So I hope that I was able to share some great information with you today. Thanks for joining the chat session. Please share this post with your connections and invite others to join the next session. Thank you.